Depression. We've all heard that word before. It for some reason seems to be spreading everywhere in this generation. But have you ever wondered why it feels like depression is becoming more and more common, even though mental health help is more available than ever before? According to the research from the Walton Family Foundation and Murmuration in 2012, out of all of the generations, this generation, Gen Z, is the one with the highest rates of depression. But why? Why is it that our generation is filled with more sad people? Hello everyone, my name is Feras Muthana, and I am here today to talk to all of you about what I think the reason for depression being so common in people nowadays is. You see, when I was first thinking about this, I first thought that the reason many people are depressed now is because of our world and the conditions it has brought to people. I thought that it was due to the circumstances of a person's life that defined whether or not they would feel happy or sad. If a person lived an amazing life with money, houses, and cars, it meant they lived a happy life. And if a person lived a poor life with no money, house, or cars, it meant they lived a sad life. But then I realized that this just isn't true. A while ago, I was scrolling on social media, and I stumbled across a video of some of the people in Palestine who are now currently at war with Israel. And it shocked me. Even though the country was at war, they looked so full of life. They were so happy. I thought to myself, how is it that even though they're displaced, they don't have enough food or water, and all their houses are blown up, yet they're all still living happily? And on the other hand, there's so many people out there in the world that live such rich lives, yet seem to be in discontent with their life. And I thought, what is it that makes the rich person sad and the poor person happy? And after thinking about it, I think I found the answer. And it is gratitude. Being grateful is something that many of us have forgotten to do. We live our everyday lives without ever acknowledging the blessings we have. In today's fast-paced world, we're constantly striving to possess more, achieve more, and be more. We are caught up in a never-ending cycle of comparison where we measure our worth based on what others have or what society expects from us. This constant striving for more is what leads to the feelings of discontent, unhappiness, and ultimately, depression. Just imagine what would happen to people if they shifted their focus. What if you took a moment each day to reflect on the things you have, the people who love you, and the simple joys that surround you? If you start to appreciate every moment and everything that happens in your life, you'll never fall into the spiral of discontent and depression. While the Palestinians were under such harsh conditions, they never stopped being grateful for the things they still have. They didn't focus on the bad around them, but they looked at the positive side. The mere presence of their family members was enough to make them feel content. You know, this reminds me of a quote that I heard somewhere, and I couldn't remember who said it, but it goes, "If anything bad ever happens to you, always tell yourself that it could have been worse." If you ever encounter a struggle in your life or something bad happens, instead of crying about it and eating yourself up from the inside, learn to tell yourself that it could have been worse. But in the end, it wasn't worse, so you have to be grateful for it. Just like those Palestinians, their homes were blown up and they had no food or water, but at least they still had their family members, and so they were grateful for it, and that in turn gave them happiness. When you practice gratitude, you need to train your mind to look for the positive aspects of your life rather than dwelling and shedding tears about what is lacking. And this doesn't mean that you ignore the challenges or hardships you face. No, you need to find solutions for those problems you face. But at the same time, you also need to acknowledge the good alongside them. As Brian Tracy said, look for the good in every person and situation. You'll almost always find it. Sometimes things we don't like happen to us, but in the end, it turned out to be a good thing. And sometimes things we think are good for us are taken away from us. But what you thought was originally good for you turned out to be a bad thing later on. So it was actually good that it was taken away. Let me give you an example. Let's say someone got fired from their job for no reason, and it saddened them a lot. But later on, they decided to accept the fact that they got fired and decided to use it as an opportunity to start their own company. And this later turned into a multi-million-dollar business. Is him losing his previous job now still a bad thing, or is it a good thing? Of course it's a good thing. If he never lost his original job, he would still be working in his normal 9 to 5 with a low salary. Sometimes in our lives, bad things happen, but we need to be able to be grateful for them, accept them, and move on. Because then you will realize that whatever you thought was bad for you was actually a good thing all along. Whether it taught you a lesson or it became something better than what you originally had at first. And something else I also want to add, if many of you don't know, I am a Muslim. And in the religion of Islam, our Prophet Muhammad tells us to look at those below you and to not look at those above you, lest you will find discontent in your life. You should never, ever, ever look at anyone who's in a better situation than you. Because you'll start to tell yourself, why them and why not me? Why are they more blessed than I am? And you'll start to think your self-worth is less than theirs, which can lead to you feeling discontent with your life. Always and always only look at those who are less fortunate than you, because only through that will you be able to be grateful for what you have, and you'll never find discontent with your life. So to all of you here, I need you all to realize that you're living a life someone would do anything for. So why be sad about it? Start looking at the things you have and appreciate them. Your family, your friends, your school, your house, your everything. There are people out there in the world that would die to have what you have. So show gratitude for it. Show gratitude. Be happy. What don't you have? Did you eat today? Did you have water to drink? Are you clothed? If you are, well, I tell you what, your life is 1,000,000 times better than the millions out there who are dying of hunger right now. So be thankful. Don't let little problems ruin your life that's so blessed. There's nothing worth being sad or depressed about. You know, there's also this one thing that I'm very sure many of us forget to be grateful about, and it is something that is neglected, but should definitely be the #1 most important thing that we all need to start appreciating in our lives. And it is to start to be grateful for our bodies. And what I mean by that is that you all need to start to appreciate the fact that you have 2 arms, 2 legs, the ability to see, to hear, to talk, to walk. These are things that many people around us in the world do not have, and so we need to start appreciating them more. If I were to ask you to replace any of those things for $1 billion, would you do it? My answer would definitely be no, because to me, nothing is more important than my health. There are people out there in the world who are blind, deaf, immobile, or have illnesses that do not allow them to do normal, everyday things. So why are you not grateful for those normal, everyday things that you have the ability to do? You need to be grateful for everything that happens to you, every experience you have, whether it is bad or good. Because even if it's bad, always remember that there is someone else out there in the world that is in a worse situation than you that would do anything to be in your place. You cannot take anything for granted, no matter what it is. So to all of you here, if you're ever going through a depression, don't let it bother you too much, because there will always be good that comes from it. Start appreciating your life more, especially the little things. If you encounter any struggles or hardships, always be grateful for them and tell yourself that it could have been worse. If you start appreciating all the blessings you have and making good out of the bad, you will surely find content and happiness. Thank you.